and we are talking about posters this week. A poster is a two-dimensional, single-surface print or digital format used to inform, to persuade, or to promote. It's going to give such information as data, schedules, offerings, causes, places, events, something about a person, a place, film, a service, an entity, an organization. Posters are produced in multiples and circulated. They're often displayed in numerous locations around town and are seen more than once by the public. Multiple viewings reinforce messages for any single viewer. If a poster is not well designed or it is dull, it's going to be ignored when it's surrounded by other visual communications or interesting things in the environment. When words and images are effectively combined, a poster has the potential to communicate, and it can become more than ephemeral visual communication. It can become an object of art to return to again and again for contemplation or provocation. We've already talked about the history of posters, so we'll continue on. A good design concept is the basis for the design of a poster. Several issues must be addressed simultaneously with posters. A good deal of information has to live on each design. For the development of the poster, conceive and state 3 different ideas and respective key messages as guides. To formulate your key messages, ask these questions. How can my idea and execution interest people enough to call them to action? What makes this poster's attraction, cause, or brand noticeably different from the other posters and environmental postings and distractions? What's the purpose? What are you promoting? Why should someone be interested in this social cause, political view, or what kind of emotional response do you want to provoke? How can you craft the message so that it resonates with your target audience? You communicate your design concept through a cooperative combination of type and image, interesting visualizations, and considered composition. The very nature of designing for one larger graphic surface absolutely invites experimentation. Any visualization that you select should best serve the design concept. Explore techniques to see which kinds of visualizations might work best for your concepts. Go back and review what we discussed about visualization. You should experiment things like photo montage or collages. Try some of the following ideas. How about different printmaking techniques? If you haven't studied printmaking, maybe you could try experimenting with that, doing monotypes or working with linotype or woodcuts. Maybe you could try doing something with a screen print. Due to its popularity, screen printing deserves its own entry. You can do this at home using a porous mesh screen stretched over a wooden frame. All you need is a stencil, a squeegee, ink, and a surface like paper or a t-shirt. Then there's letterpress. Letterpress is a printing method using a relief-type printing plate where the image or printed areas are raised above the non-printing areas. Maybe woodblock. Woodblock has been around for centuries. For each color you print, you would use a different block with the basic form of the drawing on the key block. You can try mixing media and experimental media. Combine paint and collage or photography with drawings. Illustrate with unusual media like maybe try a paint wash on heavy paper towels. Create imagery out of torn paper. This poster, created by Sagmeister for the Adobe Achievement Awards, is an example of experimental visualization. Sagmeister had a wooden floor constructed, and with many helpers, he arranged 2,500 filled coffee cups. This student award poster depicts a designer creating an award-winning work out of paper coffee cups, running on pure caffeine, as many design students do. Posters need to grab attention. You can't persuade someone to go see a show, buy something, donate blood, get a mammogram, go protest, buy concert tickets, that poster first has to attract their attention. It has to keep people's interest long enough to give them information. It has to communicate. It has to persuade them to actually do something. A poster needs to be distinctive enough to set it apart. It needs a unique image, maybe some kind of interesting juxtaposition of interest with type and images, something that sets a mood or gives some kind of emotion. You need to communicate the key messages. Remember, we need to select our key messages. Establish a visual hierarchy and flow from one graphic element to the next. Is there a focal point? Did you emphasize one graphic element above everything else? Are you placing the focal point to help viewers enter the graphic space? Once a focal point ushers the viewer into the composition should further guide the viewer from one point to the next. Is your arrangement getting people to look from point A to point B to point C? Are you creating a directional flow? Are you using your negative space? Are you using your graphic elements to get people to look at the composition in a particular direction? A poster is a single item. It is one unit. It's seen from a distance. So you have to be sure that all the component parts act together so that they are a cohesive entity. Establish a flow and a rhythm from image to type throughout the composition, using the negative shapes to guide people's eyes. It's like you were guiding somebody through a building. Based on your design concept, decide if there's an image or typography or there's some kind of image type amalgamation that's going to be dominant. Most posters are purposed for public places and they are seen from a distance. Consider where a poster is going to be seen and how it's going to be viewed. How close is somebody going to be standing to that poster? Because a poster is a single unit, composing intuitively makes sense. You compose by employing principles of design and trying one thing or another until you've arranged the graphic space to reflect your communication and aesthetic goals. Always start with the content you need to include. To compose intuitively, you could start with a compositional principle that might best serve your design concept, like symmetry or asymmetry. Think about whether the inherent balance and regularity of symmetry aligns with your design concept, or whether asymmetrical distribution of elements in a composition would be better suited to the communication. Consider the relevance of a logical graphic space versus an ambiguous space to your design concept. An image or type relationship, big image versus small type, or big type versus small image. You need an entry point into the graphic space that is established by type or image or some kind of spatial passageway. Content-led thinking, giving emphasis to the graphic element that leads the communication. Or you can utilize a compositional device like the golden ratio or the rule of thirds. Or maybe you can compose using the grid. Consider what kind of grid would best serve your concept. Image-heavy content may need a modular grid. Think of consistency throughout the module or using spatial zones for contrast. Consider how the content integrates with the modular grid's units in terms of alignment and creating zones for type or for images. Text-heavy content may need a column grid. Consider maintaining one alignment throughout. Organize the content in an information hierarchy and assign appropriate type sizes so that you can help people read the information. A poster could be seen alone as a single unit, or you might see one poster design in a related group. You can express related ideas or notions through a series, several posters related by strategy and conceptual thinking. If we use graphic design and advertising to sell mouthwash and movie tickets, we can use those disciplines to advance social causes. As a mass communication vehicle, you use the poster as a medium to voice dissent, to incite, or to inform. Whether worrisome propaganda or in the service of the public good, a poster can influence a lot of people. In the interest of society, each designer has the potential for uniquely affecting change. In a single unit, a poster can carry a message, maybe to the people who couldn't read extensively about a subject or listen to a long lecture. In the tradition of giving voice to ideas that matter, contemporary designers create posters for a lot of causes, voicing dissent or hope, protesting or urging. In recent times, designers have come together for causes through various activities. The Hurricane Poster Project is a collaborative effort by members of the design community to raise money for the victims of Hurricane Katrina.